I'm Serena. I tell fictional stories of mystery and quiet horror, meant to be heard slowly, without interruption. For the next few moments, all you need to do is listen. So lower the lights and come with me.
There's something intimate about being alone in someone else's home. You see the details of their life, photos on the mantle, books on the shelves, the way they arrange their kitchen. You learn who they are when no one is watching. But what happens when you discover that you're not really alone? When you realize the house itself has been watching you all along? This is the story of Rachel Park, a professional house sitter who took a job in a beautiful Victorian home on Maple Street. The owners would be gone for 2 weeks. The pay was generous. The house was gorgeous. It seemed perfect. It's October 1st, 7 p.m. Rachel has just locked the front door behind her for the first time. In 14 days she'll unlock it again. If she survives that long. Chapter 1. Arrival. Rachel stood in the foyer of the Whitmore house, her suitcase at her feet, and took in her surroundings. The house was beautiful, exactly as the listing photos had shown. High ceilings with ornate crown molding, polished hardwood floors, a grand staircase that curved up to the second floor. Everything immaculately maintained, almost obsessively so. Mrs. Whitmore had left detailed instructions on the kitchen counter. Watered the plants daily, collect the mail, keep the house at exactly 72 degrees, don't enter the locked room on the 3rd floor. That last instruction was underlined 3 times. Rachel had been house-sitting for 5 years, ever since she'd graduated college and couldn't find work in her field. She'd stayed in mansions and apartments, farmhouses and beach cottages. Every homeowner had their quirks, their special rules. A locked room wasn't unusual. Still, something about the way Mrs. Whitmore had emphasized it during their phone interview stuck with Rachel. Under no circumstances should you attempt to enter that room. It's locked for a reason. Do you understand? Rachel had assured her she understood. She was a professional. She respected boundaries. The house settled round her with a creak, the way old houses do. Rachel picked up her suitcase and climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor guest room where she'd be sleeping. The room was lovely, 4-poster bed, antique dresser, a window overlooking the back garden. Rachel unpacked her things, arranging her clothes in the dresser, setting her laptop on the small desk by the window. Through the window, she could see the garden below. It was overgrown, almost wild, which seemed odd given how immaculate the interior of the house was. Vines crawled up the back wall. Weeds choked the flower beds. A stone birdbath stood in the center, dry and cracked. Rachel made a mental note to mention it to the Whitmores when they returned. Maybe they'd want her to hire a gardener. She went back downstairs to make herself dinner. The kitchen was spotless, every surface gleaming. The refrigerator was stocked with food Mrs. Whitmore had left for her, fresh vegetables, cheese, bread, eggs. Very thoughtful. As Rachel cooked, she explored the 1st floor. Living room with a fireplace and built-in bookshelves. Dining room with a table that could seat 12. A small study lined with more books. A bathroom under the stairs. Everything perfect. Everything in its place, except for the photographs. Rachel noticed them as she carried her dinner into the living room. Family photos on the mantle, the walls, the side tables, but something was wrong with them. Every single photograph showed the same 2 people, Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore. She assumed a couple in their 60s, well-dressed, unsmiling. But in every photo, they stood in the exact same pose, same stance, same positioning, same neutral expressions. The backgrounds changed, different locations, different years based on their aging faces, but their poses never varied. It was like looking at the same photograph taken hundreds of times over the course of decades. Rachel told herself it was just a quirk. Some people were particular about photos. Maybe they had a signature pose, but it was unsettling. She ate her dinner and decided to explore the upstairs. Besides the guest room, there were 3 other bedrooms on the 2nd floor. The master bedroom, pristine, unused looking, despite Mrs. Whitmore saying they lived here. A 2nd bedroom set up as an office. A 3rd that was completely empty except for a single chair in the center, facing the wall. Rachel stared at that chair for a long moment. Who puts a single chair in an empty room, facing a blank wall? She closed the door and continued to the 3rd floor. The staircase to the 3rd floor was narrower, the ceiling lower. Up here, there were only 2 doors. One stood open, revealing a small storage room filled with boxes and old furniture. The other was locked, a heavy padlock securing it shut. The forbidden room. Rachel stood outside it, studying the door. It was different from the others in the house, older, heavier, made of dark wood that looked almost black in the dim light. And unlike every other surface in the house, this door was dusty, as if no one had touched it in years. She reached out to brush away some of the dust, and the door seemed to vibrate under her touch, just slightly, like something on the other side had moved. Rachel pulled her hand back. Just the house settling, she told herself. Old houses make noises, but she backed away from the door and went downstairs, and she didn't go up to the third floor again that night. Rachel woke at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps. She lay in bed, heart pounding, listening. The footsteps were directly above her on the third floor, slow, deliberate, pacing back and forth. But she was alone in the house. The doors were locked. The alarm was set. Rachel grabbed her phone and pulled up the alarm system app. All sensors showed green. No doors or windows opened. No motion detected. The footsteps continued. Pace, 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 like someone walking the length of a room and back again, over and over. Rachel forced herself out of bed. She couldn't just lie here all night listening. She had to check. She opened her bedroom door and stepped into the hallway. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Rachel waited, barely breathing. Nothing. She crept to the stairs and looked up toward the third floor. The hallway above was dark, still, empty. "Hello?" she called out. Her voice sounded small in the large house. "Is someone there?" No answer. Rachel climbed the stairs slowly, her phone's flashlight illuminating the way. The third floor hallway was exactly as she'd left it. Storage room door open, locked room door closed. She checked the storage room, empty except for boxes. No place for someone to hide. The locked room's padlock was still secure. Rachel went back downstairs, checked every room, every closet, every possible hiding place. Nothing. No one. She was alone. But when she returned to her bedroom and lay down, trying to calm her racing heart, the footsteps started again. Pace, 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 directly above her. Impossible to ignore. Rachel didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, Rachel called Mrs. Whitmore. The phone rang 6 times before going to voicemail. "Hi, Mrs. Whitmore, it's Rachel. I'm settling in fine, but I wanted to ask about something. I've been hearing footsteps on the third floor at night. I checked, and there's no one there. So I'm wondering if maybe there's an animal in the attic, or perhaps the house has some settling issues I should know about. Give me a call when you get this. Thanks." She hung up and made coffee, trying to convince herself it was nothing. Old houses made noise. She'd stayed in plenty of places with creaks and groans. This was no different, except it was different. Those footsteps had been too rhythmic, too purposeful to be random settling. Rachel spent the day trying to distract herself. She watered the plants. There were dozens of them throughout the house, all thriving despite the dim interior light. She collected the mail from the box at the end of the long driveway. She worked on her laptop, catching up on emails and applications for real jobs that never seemed to pan out. But her attention kept drifting to the ceiling, to the third floor, to that locked room. Mrs. Whitmore didn't call back. That evening, Rachel made dinner and ate in the kitchen, avoiding the living room with its unsettling photographs. She tried to read a book but couldn't concentrate. At 9 p.m., she decided to go to bed early. Maybe if she was asleep when the footsteps started, they wouldn't wake her. But at 10 p.m., her phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. "Stay out of the locked room." Rachel stared at the message. Who had sent this? Mrs. Whitmore from a different phone. But why not just call back? She texted back, "Who is this?" No response. Rachel checked the alarm system again. All secure. She went to each window on the first floor, looking out into the dark yard. No cars, no people, nothing. Another text. "The room is locked for your protection. Do not try to open it. Mrs. Whitmore." Rachel typed. "Is this you? It doesn't matter who I am. Stay away from the third floor. Stay away from the room. If you value your life." Rachel's hands shook as she typed. "If this is a threat, I'm calling the police. Call them. They won't believe you. And they won't arrive in time." In time for what? No answer. Rachel tried calling the number, but it went straight to a message saying the number was not in service. She sat on the couch, debating what to do. This was insane. She should leave, pack her things and go to a hotel. Let the Whitmores find someone else to watch their creepy house. But she needed the money. This job paid $3,000 for 2 weeks of work. That was 2 months of rent. She couldn't afford to walk away. Maybe the texts were just someone's idea of a prank. Maybe a neighbor who knew the house was being watched and thought it would be funny to scare the house sitter. Rachel decided to stay, but she made sure every door and window was locked, double-checked the alarm, and kept her phone within reach. At 3 a.m., the footsteps started again, but this time, they weren't just on the 3rd floor. This time, they were coming down the stairs. Chapter 2. The Descent. Rachel sat frozen on her bed, listening to the footsteps descend from the 3rd floor to the 2nd. Step, 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 slow and methodical. They reached the 2nd floor hallway, stopped outside her door. Rachel held her breath, staring at the door handle, waiting for it to turn, but it didn't. The footsteps continued past her room, down the hall, into the empty bedroom with the single chair. Then silence. Rachel waited for 10 minutes, 20, 30, nothing more. Finally, she gathered her courage and opened her door. The hallway was empty. She crept down to the room with the chair and slowly pushed open the door. The chair had moved. It was no longer facing the wall. Now it faced the doorway, faced her, and on the seat of the chair was a photograph she'd never seen before. Rachel approached cautiously and picked it up. It showed a young woman, maybe 25, standing in this very house, in the foyer, beside that grand staircase. She was smiling, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Rachel turned the photo over. Written on the back in faded ink, Melissa Torres, house sitter, September 2015. Day 1, a house sitter. Like Rachel, Rachel's blood ran cold. She searched the room for more photos and found them tucked behind the baseboard, as if hidden. Dozens of photographs, all showing different women, all labeled as house sitters, all marked Day 1. The most recent was from just 3 months ago. Jennifer Liu, house sitter, July 2024. Day 1. Where were the photos from the other days? Where were these women now? Rachel grabbed all the photos and ran back to her room, locking the door. She tried calling Mrs. Whitmore again, straight to voicemail. She called the number the Whitmores had listed as an emergency contact. Disconnected. Rachel pulled up her laptop and started searching. Melissa Torres missing. Nothing. Jennifer Liu missing. Nothing. She searched for the Whitmores themselves. Richard and Margaret Whitmore, Maple Street, and found a news article from 20 years ago. Maple Street tragedy. Couple found dead in apparent murder suit. The article described how Richard Whitmore, 67, had killed his wife Margaret, 65, before taking his own life. Neighbors reported the couple had become increasingly isolated in their final years. Police found their bodies in the master bedroom. The article was dated October 15, 2004, 20 years ago. Rachel stared at the screen. This couldn't be right. She'd spoken to Mrs. Whitmore on the phone just a week ago. She'd been given keys, alarm codes, instructions, unless Rachel ran downstairs to the kitchen counter where Mrs. Whitmore had left her instructions. She looked at them closely for the first time. The paper was old, yellowed, the handwriting faded, and at the top, in small print, was a date, October 2004. These instructions were 20 years old. Rachel's phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. Now you understand. You're not house-sitting. You're being kept, just like the others. Who are you? Rachel typed desperately. I was the house-sitter before you, before Jennifer, before all the others. I've been trying to warn you, but the house won't let me do more than send messages. What do you mean the house won't let you? The house is alive, Rachel, or something is alive in it, in that locked room. It's been feeding on us. All of us who came to stay. It keeps us here, drains us, until there's nothing left. Rachel looked at the photo of Melissa Torres again. Day 1. What had happened on Day 2? Day 3. How do I get out? Rachel typed. The doors won't open for you anymore. Check. Rachel ran to the front door. She turned the deadbolt, pulled the handle. The door didn't budge. She tried the back door, the side door, every window, all sealed, as if the house itself was holding them shut. Rachel pulled out her phone to call 911. No signal. She checked the Wi-Fi, disconnected. She tried to reconnect, but the network was gone. Another text. It's starting. The house is sealing you in. By tomorrow, it will begin the draining process. You'll feel tired, weak. Your memories will start to fade. By day 7, you'll forget who you were. By day 14, you'll be gone. What happened to you? To Melissa and the others? We're still here, trapped in the walls, in the floors, in that locked room. Our life force feeding whatever lives inside. I can only reach out sometimes, when the house's attention is elsewhere. But I'm fading too. Soon I'll be just an echo, like the others. Rachel slid down the wall to sit on the floor, her mind racing. This couldn't be happening. Houses didn't come alive, didn't trap people, didn't drain their life force. But the evidence was all around her. The sealed doors, the impossible footsteps, the photographs of vanished women. There has to be a way out, Rachel typed. Tell me what to do. The locked room. The answer is in there. But I couldn't get it open before I was taken. The key somewhere in the house. Hidden, you have to find it before the draining starts. Where? I don't know. The house moves things, changes things, but look for something that doesn't belong. Something that feels wrong. Rachel stood and looked around. Everything in this house felt wrong now. The too perfect arrangement, the identical photographs, the thriving plants in dim light, the dead garden outside. Wait, the garden. The inside of the house was perfect, but the outside was chaos. What if that was intentional? What if the house's control didn't extend beyond its walls? Rachel went to the window in the living room and looked out at the overgrown garden. In the moonlight, she could see the stone birdbath at the center, and something glinted inside it, something metallic. The garden, she texted. Is there something in the garden? I don't know. I never made it outside. But if you can get out there, maybe. Rachel tried the back door again, still sealed, but the windows. She grabbed a chair from the dining room and swung it at the living room window. The chair bounced off as if the glass was made of steel. Rachel tried again and again. The window wouldn't break. She was about to give up when she heard it. A voice, whispering from everywhere and nowhere. Why do you fight? Stay, rest, let the house take care of you. The voice was Margaret Whitmore's, sweet, maternal, terrifying. We've been so lonely, the voice continued. Richard and I, 20 years in this house, just the two of us. We need company. We need life. Young life. Fresh life. Stay with us, Rachel. Join the others. You'll never be alone again. Rachel backed away from the window. You're dead. The article said you died. Our bodies died. But the house kept us, absorbed us. We became part of it, and now we keep others. It's only fair. Why should we suffer eternity alone? The footsteps started again, but now they were everywhere. On the stairs, in the hallways, in the walls themselves. The sound of dozens of people walking, pacing, searching. All the house-sitters who'd never left. Rachel ran upstairs to her room and barricaded the door. She needed to think, needed to find that key. Something that doesn't belong, something that feels wrong. She looked around her room. Everything was exactly as she'd found it. Perfect, in place, except the dresser. When she'd put her clothes in it, she'd noticed one drawer was shallower than the others, as if something was behind it, taking up space. Rachel pulled out the drawer completely and looked in the cavity behind it. There, taped to the back of the dresser, was a key. Old, brass, ornate, and a note from Melissa. If you find this, I'm already gone. Use it. Open the room. Destroy what's inside. It's the only way. I'm sorry I couldn't do it myself. I ran out of time. Rachel grabbed the key and the note. She looked at her phone. 3:30 a.m. She'd been in the house for just over 1 day. She had 13 days left before she vanished completely, unless she could open that locked room and destroy whatever was keeping them all prisoner. Rachel took a deep breath and opened her bedroom door. The footsteps had stopped. The house was silent, waiting. Rachel climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, the brass key clutched in her hand, and approached the locked room. Chapter 3. The room. The padlock came off easily, with Melissa's key. Rachel set it aside and stood before the heavy door, her hand on the knob. This was it. Whatever was behind this door had been draining house-sitters for years, keeping the Whitmore spirits bound to this place, turning the house itself into a prison. Rachel turned the knob and pushed. The door swung open on silent hinges. The room beyond was unlike anything else in the house. While the rest of the Whitmore home was pristine and carefully maintained, this room was decayed. Wallpaper peeled from the walls. Floorboards were warped and rotted. The ceiling sagged. And the smell. Oh God, the smell. Like something dead. Like something that had been dead for a very long time. In the center of the room stood a mirror. It was massive, 7 feet tall, ornately framed in tarnished silver. And it was the only thing in the room that didn't look decayed. The glass was perfect, clear, reflective. Rachel approached it slowly, her phone's flashlight illuminating the space. She could see herself in the mirror, but the reflection wasn't quite right. It moved a fraction of a second behind her, like there was lag between her movements and what the mirror showed. Don't look too long. Her phone buzzed with a text. It starts to pull at you. That's how it drains us. Through the mirror, we look at our reflections and it drinks us in, slowly, until there's nothing left but the reflection. Rachel tore her eyes away from the mirror. How do I destroy it? I don't know. I tried to break it before I faded. Nothing worked. The glass won't crack. Maybe you have to destroy what's inside it. The thing that lives behind the reflection. Rachel looked around the room for a weapon. She found an old iron poker in the corner, probably from a fireplace that had once been here. She raised it and swung at the mirror. The poker bounced off the glass harmlessly. Not even a scratch. I told you. The text read, "It can't be broken from outside." Then how Rachel stopped. From outside? What if she could break it from inside? How do I get in? She texted. Don't. That's what it wants, for you to cross through. Once you're in there, you can't come back. You'll be trapped forever. But if I'm inside, I can destroy it from that side. End this for good. You'll die, Rachel. Or worse than die. You'll be consumed. Rachel looked at her reflection. It smiled at her, even though she wasn't smiling. Someone has to stop this, Rachel said aloud. Someone has to end it. How many more house sitters are going to vanish before someone does something? Her phone was silent. Rachel took a deep breath and made her decision. She would go through the mirror, find the source of whatever was doing this, and destroy it, even if it costs her everything. She reached out and touched the mirror's surface. It was cold and soft, like touching water. Her fingers sank into the glass, ripples spreading outward from the point of contact. Rachel pushed forward and stepped through. The world on the other side of the mirror was wrong. Everything was reversed, flipped. The room looked the same but felt different. The decay was even worse here. The walls weren't just peeling, they were bleeding. Dark liquid seeping from the cracks, pooling on the floor. And there were faces, in the walls, in the floor, in the ceiling. Dozens of faces, pressed against the surfaces from the inside. Mouths open in silent screams. The house sitters, all of them, trapped in the mirror world. Rachel saw Melissa Torres, her face frozen in horror. Jennifer Liu, others she didn't recognize. All imprisoned in the walls of this reversed room. You came through, a voice said behind her. Rachel turned. Margaret Whitmore stood there, but she looked different from the photographs. Younger, beautiful, perfect. Everyone does eventually, Margaret continued. The house shows them the mirror, and human curiosity is irresistible. They always look, and once they look long enough, they come through. What is this place? Rachel asked. This is the true house, the real house. The one you were staying in is just a reflection, a lure, a trap. We've been here since we died. Richard and I trapped in this place, but we learned to use it, to pull others through, to feed on their life force. Why? Because we're so hungry, dear. Death is hungry work, and the only way to satisfy it is with life. Fresh, young life. Richard Whitmore appeared beside his wife. He looked exactly as he did in the photographs, smiling, cold. You won't escape, he said. The others tried. They all failed. Now they're part of the house, part of us. And soon, you will be too. Rachel looked around desperately. There had to be a way out, a way to destroy this place. And then she saw it. In the corner of the room, pulsing with dark light, a heart, a literal heart, made of shadows and rot, beating slowly. The house's heart, the source of its power. Rachel ran for it, but the Whitmores moved to block her. Their forms shifted, becoming less human, more monstrous. Elongated limbs, too many fingers, mouths that opened too wide. You can't destroy it, they hissed in unison. We are the house is us, we are eternal. Rachel swung the iron poker she'd brought through the mirror. It connected with Richard's form, and he recoiled, screaming. The poker glowed with heat in her hands. Iron, old protection, oldest one there is. Rachel fought her way toward the heart, swinging the poker at anything that got close. The Whitmores tried to stop her, but the iron burned them, kept them at bay. She reached the heart and raised the poker high. Stop, Margaret screamed. If you destroy that, you destroy the house. You'll destroy yourself too. You're inside it. You'll be erased along with everything else. Rachel paused. What about the others? The ones trapped in the walls. They'll be erased too. All of us. Everything. Rachel looked at the faces pressed against the walls. At Melissa. At Jennifer. at all the nameless others who'd been lured here and consumed. They couldn't speak, couldn't move, but their eyes begged her. End it, end this, free us. I'm sorry, Rachel said to them. I'm sorry this happened to you, but I'm going to set you free. She brought the poker down on the heart. It exploded in a burst of black light. The house screamed. The Whitmores screamed. Everything screamed. The walls began to crack, to crumble. The faces trapped inside them dissolved, their expressions shifting from horror to relief to peace before they vanished. Rachel felt herself dissolving, to the house's grip on her loosening, the mirror world falling apart. She had just enough time to think, I did it, I freed them. Then everything went white. Epilogue. Rachel woke to sunlight and the sound of birds. She was lying on grass, real grass. She sat up and looked around. She was in the garden behind the Whitmore house, the overgrown wild garden, but it looked different now, more alive. The flowers were blooming. The bird bath was full of clean water. Birds actually sang in the trees. And the house, Rachel turned to look at it. The house was gone. In its place was an empty lot, just grass and flowers and sunshine, as if the house had never existed. Rachel checked herself. She was whole, solid, alive. Somehow, destroying the heart had expelled her from the mirror world before she could be erased. She pulled out her phone. It had signal now. The date showed October 2nd. She'd been in the house for just over 24 hours. Not 14 days, just 1 day and night. Time had moved differently inside the mirror world. Or maybe the house had made her think more time had passed. She'd never know for sure. Rachel stood on shaky legs and walked to the street. Maple Street looked normal, suburban, peaceful. A jogger ran past and waved. A neighbor watered their lawn. No one seemed to notice that the Whitmore house was gone, as if it had never been there in the first place. Rachel walked to her car, parked at the curb where she'd left it yesterday. She got in and just sat there for a moment, processing everything. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you. We're free now. We're finally free. Melissa. Rachel stared at the message. Then it deleted itself, vanishing without a trace. She started her car and drove away from Maple Street. She didn't look back. 2 weeks later, Rachel received a check in the mail. $3,000 from the Whitmore estate. There was a note attached. Thank you for your services. The house is no longer in need of watching. We appreciate your discretion. M.W. Rachel deposited the check. It cleared. The money was real. She quit house sitting after that, got a job at a bookstore, then worked her way up to management. Normal work, stable work, work that didn't involve staying alone in other people's homes. But sometimes, late at night, she'd wonder about the other house sitters, the ones who'd come before her. Had they really been freed? Were they at peace? Or were they still out there somewhere, trapped in other mirror worlds, other hungry houses? Rachel tried not to think about it too much, but she never accepted another house-sitting job, and she got rid of every mirror in her apartment, just to be safe.
If this story stayed with you, you're always welcome here. Subscribe to the channel and join us for more stories like this. Quiet, mysterious, and meant to be heard. Until next time.